Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
All right, guys, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Brett McCollum, and I am here today with Dominique Pereira. And today we're going to talk about breaking barriers to become a serial entrepreneur. Guys, before we do, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs to 2 to 5x their businesses, allow them to build the business that they've always wanted, and to allow them to build the lives they've always dreamed of. Without further ado, Dominic, how are you, man?
I'm well, thank you. How you doing, Brett?
I am wonderful, man.
Excellent.
I am genuinely, this is going to be one of those shows where we were talking pre-show, and I was like, we could both talk for a bit. Like you're my people. We don't even know each other. We just met. I'm like, dude, he's my people. Like, this is great.
Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, it can go from a podcast to a whole conference or a summit, right?
That's something, right? Like, yeah.
Love it.
If you're at church, you're going to have an altar call at the end, right? Like, that's
I
what I'm
love it.
like. It's going to be good.
Yeah.
Before we get too far in, man, and start talking all about the things, tell people, who are you, man? Some history. How'd you get into real? Like, just give us some background.
Yeah, you mentioned Dominique Pereira, but my full name is Dominique Tecapanzu Pereira, and that is because I born and raised early life in Angola, Africa. I came here in early 90s through the efforts of my parents, and we were in a war-torn country in Africa, and just through the education and effort that they've made, I was able to come here, and I didn't fully appreciate all that until you start growing up a little bit, start, carving your own lane in life. But what happened is, and obviously, September 11th, immigration became a little bit more difficult early on, and my documentation had lapsed here, so I was really undocumented growing up, and those were some challenges that started to present themselves as I was trying to get funding to get into college, right? Like, didn't apply or qualify for any government grants and or funding or loans, getting a driver's license, just everything was a challenge and a barrier, but it was an opportunity. It built resilience for me. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting this door closed right now, but let me ask somebody else that. Let me get this. Let me put and I really persevere and did go into computer engineering and studied that just because my parents always instilled that, hey, education in this life is going to take you further than presumably any other effort that you can make single-handedly. So
Yeah.
as I was into computer engineering, um, I realized I had to pay for school. I had to pay for college somehow, and I couldn't get a job really, and couldn't get grants or loans. So I started building websites and applications for companies and businesses and your mom and pop shop and this and that. So I started my technology company in college.
Wow.
And it started growing, from $500 a pop to $5,000. And I started realizing how companies, including government agencies, would start pushing you along and start helping, getting you what you need when you start adding value to them.
Mm.
Right now, all of a sudden, when I'm the cybersecurity expert, I started getting government contracts, ironically.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
Working with the Department of Defense, working with the United States Border Patrol, because I possess a skill set that they said, okay, you have this situation here that we can help you out with, as long as you can help us out with this. And so that started understanding the synergy of offering value in business.
That's huge.
And and we started growing the technology company. But unfortunately, right around 2000, and we grew it. I moved from Philadelphia to Austin, Texas, to expand the company. We were looking for a new home base, and I wanted to be a technology hub. I was feeling some type of way, because even though this is still a small company, we're doing government contracts, we're doing private contracts. I'm not really making that much money as the owner, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm paying for the office, I'm paying my employees, but I was looking at, I'm talking with my bookkeeper, and I'm like, man, some of our engineers are getting paid more than me, right? I own the company, I own the equity, but I didn't really even understand liquidity events or what, our exit strategy. So my take home pay as an owner and a founder was relatively low.
Mm-hmm.
And the even worse than that, what ended up happening is one of our larger clients, and at this time we were doing big company. We were working with Google, every Starbucks in the Northeast. We probably installed the Wi-Fi for IBM. We were doing these big companies, but I'm not seeing the type of money that I really was expecting. And one of our larger clients, because also when you're a new entrepreneur, one thing that people don't tell you is you can charge more, right? Like you don't realize that how to value your own service. You just, I'm still that mindset of let me not scare them off with the price. And one of these clients that we were working with went bankrupt, and we were so over leveraged with them. They were late on some invoices, but they would eventually pay. And then you start looking back as the owner saying, how did I let this get that far? And it's, we're going to fast forward to real estate. How did I let this tenant get 4 months behind before I started this eviction process, or this contractor get so far, like the money so far?
Sure.
Yeah. Right. So I realized that this was existential for my company. I'm gonna figure out a way to get out of this, without losing. We were leveraged $100-something thousand, and I could really lose my company. And we're in Austin, Texas at the time. We just had moved to Austin, Texas, and I decided I was listening to other ways of, making money and leveraging, whether we should buy our office space or lease it and blah, blah, blah. And that's when I started learning about real estate investing, whether it's commercial or residential, and the benefits of it. Because we had to keep paying that rent no matter what.
Right.
My client, and I was like, man, at first I was resenting our landlord. I was like, I wish I was him. Right?
Yeah.
So I then decided, okay, well, you know what? I'm in Austin. I'm renting here. Let me buy something. I was Airbnb-ing, actually, long-term Airbnb. So just because I used to travel a lot for work. So just nomadic in the nature of my business, I decided, let me buy a property. And because I know I still have to travel a lot, I'm just going to Airbnb some of the rooms. So I bought, even though it's just me, I bought um a 4-bedroom home. Well, it wasn't, needed some work, some paint, some stuff that even I felt that I could do and add some value to. It wasn't top of the market. And I, based on the research that I was doing and watching you guys, watching so many other podcasts and YouTube videos, started seeing what type of value real estate investment had. So I bought
Right.
that 4-bedroom house, and in 2000.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
'17, and then I started right away, started renting out 3 of those bedrooms in Austin on Airbnb, and then started covering my mortgage. I'm like, okay, well, let me pretend like this money's not here. Let me just put it straight to the side and use that for a down payment for my next property. And then now I have 2 houses in this amazing market, and I'm seeing the equity appreciation. I'm like, okay, I'm hooked. How do we scale this?
You got the bug.
And yeah, I got the bug. So now I'm getting close to 100 doors just over the last couple of years, but some commercial properties in between then, and some ended up buying a farm just as to diversify the portfolio. So it's been a long road and a lot of journeys that have come from the singular path, so
Yeah.
to speak, financial independence.
That. Oh my God, there's a lot we can unwind here, right?
Yeah.
Man, that's incredible though, Dominique. Like that's the power. I mean, like as the entrepreneur spirit, and I think, like you mentioned early on in the show of like the resilience that you may have faced early on that, laid some foundation of, to be able to tackle that next thing, to be able to tackle that next thing, to be able to tackle that next thing. When that happened with the technology business where the client went bankrupt, right? And you had all these outstanding invoices. You have to that's one more door that's being thrown in your face almost, and you have to bounce back from it. Do you remember, you make it sound so almost, and I know as the owner of a company and stuff like this, when challenges hit, it's our job as leaders to keep that level head, to have that strong neck, right? But inside, how was there any days where you're struggling? How are you feeling? That sort of thing.
Oh yeah, I mean I can probably tell you that there's less days that I wasn't struggling. I could probably count on one hand, okay, that was a good day, right? Or that I kind of
You celebrate the good days, right? It's
yeah,
like, oh my God,
celebrate the
finally I had
good
a good
day.
day.
Yeah, because the reality is when you're a entrepreneur and you're starting out, people are buying into your vision. I have employees that are trusting your stewardship with their livelihood, right?
Right.
Like they have kids, they have families, and you make the decisions to hopefully help put food on their table.
Mm.
And they trust you, and they especially when you're a small company, they're hoping to grow with you. And when you make a decision that jeopardizes that, it's bigger than just your money, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
bigger than
Mm-hmm.
just, okay, it's, you almost feel like you failed even if you haven't hit the bottom yet, right? Like it's a slow train wreck because
Right.
you don't know how to get out. You stop wanting to answer the phone because on the other end of that is just another problem. And you want to start, and then you don't start trusting people, right? Like, it's like, how do you kind of didn't allow me to. eh, If I was more focused on this, we wouldn't have gotten there. But I let somebody else kind of handle that while I was focusing on this. So you want to feel like maybe you have to still handle everything. So yes, at that time it was it's very easy to get into an entrepreneurial depression and
Sure.
the echo chamber and your own bubble. But I'll give you one day. I don't care. Take a Saturday, take a Sunday, do that, get in your sob, whatever. But the beginning of the week, there's only one thing you need to start focusing on, and that is a way forward, right? The good thing with entrepreneurship, the good thing with real estate is that sales solves a lot of problems. Not all of them, but solves a lot of problems. So you need to reevaluate. Okay, what product do I have? What are the margins on it? How can I improve this product to to give a better value proposition to somebody. I have to be solving a problem, and I have
Right.
to have full conviction that I'm solving that problem and solving it exceptionally well.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Yeah.
Now you have to humbly go out there, and if you have to beg for business, if you have to say, look, we typically do this at 50,000, but our company is on a mission to get new clients like you.
Yeah.
What can I do to get your business? And if
Yeah.
you're willing to pay me 50,000, I'll take it. But if you're willing to pay me 20, 10,
Yeah.
let me prove to you that we're the right business. And that's making phone calls and a lot of them and not and throwing the notion away. And this is sometimes just what you have to do as an entrepreneur. Obviously, you have to stay balanced, but throwing the notion away that business life is from 9 to 5, right? And maybe when things are good, and hopefully that is the case, so you can have some balance. When things are great, it's not even that much. But when you have a problem, yes, you have empty units that are costing you money.
Yep.
Call that person at 7 p.m. and say, hey, you're a lead. We have an apartment available. Like, what can I do to get you in there this month?
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
why wait till tomorrow? Why wait? You have a leak, call this plumber. Hey, you know what? I don't have enough money to pay for a $5,000 fix right now, but what can I do to get you to help me? And you'll
Yeah.
start to understand that business, yes, it's about money, but that's only a subset of it. It's about people. It's about relationships. So, and if you're being authentic, if you can express what you need, you're going to get further. But so many of us get so in our shell, we don't want to express when we're in hard times. We don't want to
Right.
express when we need something, and we just expect that people would know. And that's not the case.
Not the case at all. Yeah, that's really good, man. So you buy this 4-bedroom property. You're effectively house hacking it via Airbnb,
Yeah.
right? Doing that. What was it's 2017. How long did it take you to start building that portfolio out? Were you doing it immediately? Did you do that? When did that start?
Yeah, immediately. Because I again, I had that quote unquote failure or near catastrophic failure with my technology business. I mean, we had talk about a runway of just a couple weeks at a point. All
Yeah.
right. Effectively, I could have lost the business. And the problem with technology, if you're a consultant, you're a coach, you're whatever, there's so many are guru in this day and age, right? You have all this knowledge and you work this hard, whatever, but you don't really have anything tangible that you can leave on or sell, or that you built your business on. Right? Like
Mm-hmm.
somebody might like Dominique Pereira. We have a lot of clients because this is how I interact with them. I'm very like passionate about technology and solving technology problems. But if Dominique Pereira, I realized what was my business? It was me getting business, getting some whatever, but we don't have these long term. We don't have a product that we're selling month over month over month. And um and that was a problem for me because,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't know how to solve it. Right, at this time, this is before the AI revolution and whatever the case. We didn't have a product, and I realized that if I were to quote unquote have to pivot directions in my business, I just be left with a couple computers, the laptops, the server, and an empty office. I'm like, wow, that's. And like I said, I wasn't making a bunch of cash flow that I can say, well, at least I came out of here with $1 million in positive cash or whatever. No, I had equity. Now I have equity of a failing business.
Mm.
And what good does that do me? So I didn't want to find myself in that position again. And I've liked the thought of real estate, of no matter what was happening, at least I have something tangible.
Sure.
At least I have something tangible. So as I solved the problem of my business and the business growth and the technology side, I started really investing in real estate, um, primarily with the income that I was getting, like I said, from my Airbnb. It was at that point, just so your audience has a notion of the type of money, it wasn't a lot. I was making $2,500 a month on Airbnb from
Hmm.
these 4 rooms. And now I'm like, okay, let me solve. I think I saved for 6 months just that, and plus some of my secular money from technology. And then I went and got a loan for another or single family home, that we were gonna put out again on Airbnb or rent out, and it was amazing how fast that rented out. Actually, I
Right.
got a check at closing, because somebody was already interested same day. We
Wow.
started marketing. I started marketing it before closing.
Hmm.
I started marketing before closing, and the day that I closed, I got a check for people that were going to be moving
Incredible.
in short term.
Yeah. And then,
And then
like,
after
how did
that,
you grow that?
every
Now
year.
you got 100+ doors now. Like, how do you grow that like that quickly? Or are you running a full-fledged like acquisitions, or like how are you able to do that?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that question. Where it's almost like the most bootstrap way of um of growing a real estate portfolio. And so after that, yeah, we just took that money, and it became so interesting to me because the first 2 loans that I acquired was through traditional banks, and now I got an understanding of bank. I mean, you get 2 loans, but you made 100 phone calls to understand your banking partners. But then I got linked up with, he was essentially a hard money lender, and let me know, hey, Dom, here's some other property, because I wanted to start buying more fixer uppers and so forth. So this hard money lender out of Austin said, hey, I think this market's going to blow up. You think so too? You seem knowledgeable. Well spoken, educated, a good head on your shoulder. He let me know how much money is out there from these family accounts and people that are investing their money.
Right.
And I'm like, he's essentially saying, I have this amount of money to invest with people that I believe in. You have to find the properties.
Yep.
And it's all the important thing about real estate and business. It's finding the right mentorship. You have to be skeptical, but when there's somebody that's doing something that is gonna seem like, oh, this guy's lying to me. There is
Mhm.
no way that he has access to that much capital. Like $5 million. So I started and started buying single and duplexes and started buying multifamily. And he started financing my multifamily acquisition just through hard money, and getting into the BRRRR strategy of,
And really
okay,
buying them out.
yeah, refine them out. Can you get these refied out over 12 months, over 24 months? And with the hard money lender and having a relationship and a conversation with them, I was always timid to really. I'm like, this is expensive money. This is like, I don't really know. Some people might have some bad experiences, but what I started to appreciate is that they're not as regulated as conventional banks. So somebody
Right.
might tell you, hey, we do 12-month loans and this and that. But if you can articulate what your vision is, what your goal is, I have this property. I know what I've went to all the meetups. I've done the courses. I've learned. I want to put it in practice. And again, you're not starting out with the biggest project, obviously, but I need 24 months, not 12.
Right.
Oh, yeah, you just got to ask for what you want. Yeah, we
Right.
can do that.
Yep.
We
You
can
ask.
do that. And so we started finding properties. I say we, it's just really me. And as I started growing, people started saying, a lot of older people in Austin too, I have this property, or I have a portfolio of properties that I can lump in to one acquisition
Right.
as long as you can buy it. And I was like, oh wow, I never knew so many people had 10 properties that I could just buy. And
Yeah.
then you start, and then the more you do it, now I'm getting called for deals. Like, hey, there's a small, and we ended up buying um, a commercial multifamily in the Poconos. And then, hey, here's 25 units out in the Poconos. Okay, can you flip it? All right, then okay, I don't have a hard money lender in the Poconos, so how can I get this? Because now I know how the math works. So can you owner finance? How much money do I have to bring in? And whoa, the guy said yes to owner financer?
Gotta
Five
ask.
years?
Gotta
Yeah, you
ask.
gotta ask. I
Yep.
like he said owner financing, yes, for 5 years, and that's how we got in. So all of a sudden, my portfolio went from one to two, from two to eight, from 8 to 20. Now in that, I'll put it, and then we also have some properties in like Louisiana, some cheaper markets. So these aren't. Austin is, the price per
Right.
property is, I would say, relatively high. So the door count isn't always the important thing. It's really the value and the cash flow
Truly.
and the equity.
Yeah.
And depending on what your strategy is, please don't get infatuated with somebody's door count, because, like I said, you can buy something in Ohio, I guess. I don't know, some property that somebody has the strategy of having a lot of doors, high cash flow, but they're buying the property for $30,000 or
Right.
something like that. So, and that wasn't necessarily our case. I was experimenting with what works. I wanted to find that mesh
Mm-hmm.
of what worked, and but buying portfolios with um I guess non-conventional financing
And
was
yeah,
my
and
my
that's,
way.
I mean, it's just really cool. Like something clicked, right? And you're like,
Yeah,
oh, I can do this. Like,
yeah, yeah,
oh, yeah. Like,
yeah,
and then your entrepreneurial drive that you carry just goes, yep, let's get after it.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
I think that's the secret almost, right? It's not. I think all of us know. Everybody that's read a real estate book of some kind, like the quote unquote power of real estate. But the difference and I should back up to say, Dominic, you're absolutely right. Don't get infatuated by somebody's door count, because you also don't know the debt they're in, the stress they're in, the vacancy rates that they're having to deal with. You don't know. Like it could be an absolute nightmare. However, that being said, I will say for you to be able to go from 1 to 2 to 20 to 50 to 100, like is a testament to actionable, like this worked, double down on this thing that works. But that's the entrepreneurial drive, that you carry and possess. And now you, you said this earlier, and like as a serial entrepreneur, you're doing all these different things. And now you bought a farm. Did I hear that correctly?
yeah, definitely. A 400 acre. I have 400 acre organic blueberry farm, Teca Farms, like Dominique Teca Fanzu Pereira. And that was for a couple of reasons. So what I started realizing in real estate is it is a people business,
Yeah.
right? Like there is somebody. The amazing thing about real estate is that, good or bad, there's always somebody getting divorced. There's always somebody unfortunately passing away. There's always somebody that's been in it for so long. They want to get out, and they just want to make sure. Sometimes these are people's babies, right? They're like, who do I? Even though they might no longer have a vested interest once they sell it, they want to sell it to the right person.
Mm-hmm.
And talking to people and engaging with them and just saying, hey, here's what I'm looking to do. If you know somebody, boom, and you start to get connected. But you have to really live the life. If you're on social media, if you're on whatever, you understand that companies, whether it's Coca-Cola or McDonald's, they pay millions, if not billions of dollars to market themselves and for people to
Yeah.
know what they do, what they offer. Don't think that you're any different. Right? You don't have that budget, but if you think that anybody's going to care that you buy real estate without you telling them, it won't happen.
Right.
So if you have Facebook, if you have Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever, your own website, your own funnel, that's what you should be infatuated with, letting people know what you're trying to do.
Right.
With that, what ended up coming about that is, all right, I'm growing my portfolio with the issues that come along with it, right? When everything is rented out, it's great. I love it. when everything's rented out and there are some leaks and tenant issues, and I was like, okay, now this is kind of frustrating. But I didn't want to, so it was good growing a portfolio, but I also had other passions. I also wanted, this is a serial entrepreneur in me. I invested in a restaurant where we did a land deal plus the establishment and leased the restaurant back to my own business. That's the whole serial entrepreneur side. We ended up selling that. So, I talked to people a little bit about that information, if they're interested, but I started exploring my passions with business. All right. Like I had a passion for technology. So I got into technology company, had a passion for real estate. So I'm doing that. I don't think that I have to wait until I'm 60 to retire and sit on hopefully a lot of money to say, now I can start
Right.
doing it. Find what you love and then find a way to make money off it without it being overly cumbersome and so forth. I love agriculture. I always had a small garden in Texas. There was, um, no no shortage of land. I was trying to do a land deal with somebody. They weren't ready to sell, but like I said, it was just a relationship thing. I said, okay, well, you're not ready to sell, so what value can I bring to you? Like, we don't have to close the door here, okay? All right, so well, my grandfather used to do this, and this is the older guy. We ended up somehow, some way, settling on goats. So I was like, all right, what if I lease it with you and we partner on this? I don't own the land, but there's a business opportunity here, and I'll have a right of first refusal to buy it later on. I ended up buying a couple goats and helping him, really cultivate and keep his land going. But knowing that I will have a right to buy it if this goes anywhere, but keeping that engagement open. So now I have about 200 goats there. It started with just like 5 or 10, but 200 goats in Texas. And I was like, I really like agriculture. I love hanging out with these
Cool.
goats. I
Yeah.
love like learning, and it's just a break. So Texas is known for, if you go to Austin, there's a lot of glamping out there. There's a lot, and people will pay more to come hang out with the goats, right? Like you have to just be
Right.
creative in your entrepreneurial journey. It doesn't have to be like, okay, I have this and this is how it's always been done. It's no, I have goats. You want to come hang out with the goats? You want to do goat yoga? We rent goats out. We whatever. So now people are like, oh, can we come out? Can we glamp? Can we do this? Can we do that? That property isn't set up for that. I don't have that property set up for that, but it's always been on the back of my
But
mind.
yeah, yeah.
So
Spread
when
the
there was
idea.
an opportunity, yeah, so that sat with me for a couple years actually. And last year, no, 2 years ago now, there was a property that I came across in Jersey. I It was larger than I was expecting, but it was just an absolute opportunity that unfortunately somebody passed away. The estate didn't want to hold on to it. Whatever the case, everybody had a problem that they're trying to solve, and I presented a solution. And all right, farming doesn't make that much money on the day to day for a lot of farmers. It's no secret that farming in this country has been dwindling. And so the other farmers around didn't want to purchase this because they just the amount of cultivation that needed to happen wouldn't make sense. I looked at the property. I said, okay, we could maybe bring in a little bit of income farming it, but we could make a lot of income glamping and agritourism.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
like somebody will pay a lot more to have a wedding here and to just so we bought the property, 400 acres. Now we do you pick blueberries. We do some. We're setting up really for events and so forth. We're still doing some of the infrastructure projects, but even in that, um, I was like, I can't just have it sit here while we're getting the infrastructure settled in. There's a whole conversation that we can have about doing business in Jersey is way different than doing business in Texas. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
So understanding local regulations, understanding um, state and Jersey's heavily regulated. So we've had to pivot. And while we've been waiting to get some of these permits, while we've been waiting to, make sure that we are compliant with zoning and all of that, I said, well, I don't want to just have this property sit. So what can we offer? right? Like, what can we offer? Okay, I can't build my structures yet, but I'll charge you $150 to come out with your tent and just hang out, right? Like, you come
Yeah.
out. All right, I'll charge you. Now we have guys coming out with some ATVs. We have hikers. We have, so just getting creative and solving your problem. Don't feel like that when the door closes, there's nothing else. So we bought the property because I understood, okay, this is a real estate play, but it's also a value add for a potential business. And now we're just creating the business infrastructure behind this farm from an agro-tourism standpoint.
Dude, incredible. Like, it's so cool. Like, I know we could talk like all day with this, like that path of entrepreneurship and what it affords. It's like Mike, who we talked about pre-show, and who runs Investor Fuel with us. He says all the time, and I've started adopting it as well. Real estate is often the thing that leads to the thing.
Yes.
And just seeing you play that out, your whole, from the time you were, young, and I did this and it led me to do this. And then I did this and it led me to do this. I'm remiss to say I don't want to say the word in like it's a good thing. So, but it's going to sound negative. When business fails, oftentimes it's not failure because it's leading us into something else.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And had technology not had that downturn for you, it doesn't lead you to this point here, to where you're doing this, and just your resilience, man. Like seeing opportunity even in arguably chaos. That's a really special trait. And if nobody's told you, like, I so appreciate you saying that and giving that out there, because like it is something that we all need. I would not just entrepreneurs, but like everybody. Like, we're gonna life is hard.
Yeah, and you lessons come from failure. Right, that's the only way. You don't learn something because you've always succeeded in it, right? Like that.
True.
That's an innate. If you're fortunate enough to have that, then yeah, you're one lucky lucky person. But that probably doesn't exist. But it's like when you fail, you're like, oh, I'm not touching that again. Or matter of fact, it's not that I'm not touching that hot pot again. It's I need to go get some gloves.
Right.
All right, like, don't be scared of now. You learned why it was hot. Dealing with New Jersey, where it's me, and of course I'm structured. You have to understand how to structure LLCs and asset protection and all that. But I'm now a black farmer in with a very large property, and I say very large relative to New Jersey. In Texas, it's like very small. But the very fascinating thing about this is getting around the right people.
Yeah.
Because I bought 400 acres in New Jersey, which talking to forestry programs and NRCS and understanding grants, they're like, wow, this is big. And I'm talking to other people that are big. But I was very fortunate because remember that goat guy that I did I just happened to see an ad out for a guy leasing land, and I talked to him. We ended up talking, and I found out he had 2,000 something acres.
Wow.
Oh, this is amazing, right? And in Texas, that's quote unquote normal. There's everything's bigger in Texas,
Yeah.
and you meet people, and I started meeting people because we're doing business. My technology company, we work with high net worth individuals that own companies. We work, where these things might be fascinating to me, but they're so normal to somebody else.
Right.
So when I'm talking now to guys that are in Texas that are doing glamping or that have a 2,000 acre, and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm learning, I'm soaking it in. I'm trying not to like completely like, yeah, what? That's amazing. But it became so normal to me that when I decided, okay, I'm going to take this risk somewhere else, and we bought 400 acres, it was normal because I was
Yeah.
I
You
was
surround
put
yourself
myself
with
in
the
the
right people. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Now the people that are coming around are saying, wow, this is a lot. And I'm like, really? Okay, because the guys that I was kind of getting mentored by.
Because that guy
hey,
has 2,500 acres. So
yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Or 50,000
Yeah.
and I'm talking, there's a couple of really cool ranches in Texas that I'm giving them advice on what I would do and how we have a digital marketing aspect to my technology business. And I'm giving advice to somebody with 50,000 and they're listening
Mm-hmm.
and they're saying, that's really good, Dom. We love that. So now I'm have maybe a false confidence that I could do it myself. And so that's always
I think
helped.
you've got the entrepreneurial like thing that's just like, even if I don't know it, I know who does, and we're gonna figure this out.
We're gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and
incredible.
if a lot of and if anything, if people take anything from this is you don't have to have all the answers. You
Mm-hmm.
just have to take the first step. Don't get stuck on the analysis paralysis. Don't get stuck on comparing yourself to somebody else's journey
Yeah.
because you really don't know what's on the other side of that. But if you get started, you might be fascinated of where it leads you.
That's incredible, man. Like I said, we could do this all. I love. It's just a pleasure getting to know you, talking to you, like your story, the resilience, the wisdom that I'm here. Like man. How can people follow you, like on your journey, to get to know you a little bit? What's the best way for that to happen?
Yeah, I have a social media platform. Ask Dom that. Just because I've get asked a lot of questions from people. I used to, when
Yeah.
I was in Texas, a lot of people would ask me entrepreneur questions and all that. And just if you have a question, just ask Dom that. You can find me on all social medias under that handle.
Dude, that's incredible. And guys, and I mean this to be not to be mean, but you would be a fool not to follow Dom. You guys, like, just do it. Go follow him. Ask Dom that. But guys, it's been a great episode. Dom, a pleasure getting to know you. And everybody, take care. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.